Netflix TV show The Crown has really put the spotlight on the British royal family. We are going into the intrigues of the royal family, but here in the last Crown season 6, we have 1 minute, not even so, some seconds about what it's going to be like, the final series. And I would like to explain to you where it comes from, because there are so many things here that we can discuss about the monarchy and about the people who served it. So we obviously start with the crown. It is a symbol of permanence, it's a symbol of continuity. It's a symbol of English kings and queens who have served the crown for hundreds of years. And Elizabeth II knew that very well. I love that line because it's something you are and not what you do. So here we have kind of a mix between the crown and the person who serves the crown. And hear me out, it's so funny because here it obviously makes me think about Elizabeth I and how she felt the same way as well, because she said that she had two bodies. She had a body politic that was the crown, basically. That meant that her gender, her sex, had no meaning, had no importance. And she had a real body, a physical body, and she was a woman, and she was a queen. And here it was very important because it was in the 16th century. But here we see in that show, in Netflix show, that it was the same for Elizabeth II, that she felt the exact same way. And that is so interesting, in my opinion, to see that something that Elizabeth I faced in the 16th century was something that Elizabeth II was facing in the 20th century. So it's not about what you do, it's about what you are. And Elizabeth II was the crown, Elizabeth I was the crown, Henry VIII was the crown. And all these kings and queens were serving the crown as an establishment. This line is so important. Some portion of our natural selves is always lost. And that is something that Elizabeth I herself reflected upon, felt that way. She felt like she was losing herself to the crown. She felt like she had to make decisions that were going to serve her people more than it was going to serve her. And it's probably why as well she decided to remain single. But by doing that, was she serving the crown? Was she serving herself? Because in doing that she was ending the Tudor dynasty. But she knew that the crown was bigger than one dynasty. We have all made sacrifices. The we here is obviously all these English kings and queens in the shadows who made sacrifices for the crown. Here we have the sensation, the feeling of the burden of the crown. And when it fell upon you, you had to serve the crown and make sacrifices to make it work. I like it. It is not a choice. I almost think that here is like you have no choice. You know, it's once you're king or queen, you no longer have a choice. You have to step up. You have to perform. You have to become the crown. And here I love it. It is a duty. It is so much a duty. That's how Elizabeth I felt as well. That's how all these monarchs felt. It is a duty to serve the crown, to preserve the crown at any cost. And many British monarchs felt that way. Felt that they had to serve the crown, felt the pressure of the crown. And I love that in this TV show, The Crown, or even if, Queen Charlotte and Netflix, we have more the human sides of it. Like we have more like the personalities of these monarchs. We have much more of their struggles. And I think it's so well done here in that show, in The Crown, but also like in that snippet of the last final series of the show, to show us that with all these actresses that played Elizabeth throughout the different series of The Crown, all come back because it was a sacrifice that the real Elizabeth II kept making all her life until the end. But what about the life I put aside? And you have Elizabeth I asking that herself in her writings. You have the sense of sacrifice. You have the sense that you can not be truly happy, that your happiness, that your life as a person will always come second. The woman are put aside, with the desires, with the ambitions, with the dreams. Again, I can see here the shadow of Elizabeth I behind Elizabeth II, asking the same questions. Sometimes I want you to remember that remembering the past, learning from the past, and why I make that video like comparing Elizabeth I with Elizabeth II in a TV show called The Crown on Netflix, is because it's so relevant. Because all these lines could have been said by someone who died over 400 years ago, and it's still very relevant. I hope that in this show, in this series, we have the conflict of a woman who reflects as well on the bad decisions she made, or the bad choices she made, because Elizabeth II was not perfect, like anyone else, like any monarch, like any person, really. What I really like here is that we have the sense that we're gonna have a reflection on what it is to serve and what it is to be. And I really like that. I really like that we get into that we can have discussions about this, and that maybe it will make you want to know more about also these past English king and queens, but not just English, Europeans, worldwide, because they face the same amount of pressure. I cannot wait for November 16. I hope you enjoyed this little video that explained that snippet, that explained to you the burden of the crown, but that also gives you a bit of historical context by the fact that I really think there's a strong parallel here with what Elizabeth I of England also went through. So here it's still very relevant in the 21st century what a woman in the 16th century, a queen in the 16th century, was feeling. I really hope you enjoyed this short History Police video, and I'll see you next time. Bye!